Hey guys, welcome to another match of Littlewargame. Neagat here, and today I am bringing you a game on Silent Fjord. This is a game that I played. You can see here in the top right, I'm playing with the blue pieces, and in the bottom left, my opponent here, CpS, is playing with the red pieces. So I played this opponent before, and Um, typically, he's always been able to beat me, and I've been constantly trying to improve and you know um, learn from my mistakes, learn more about the game. And this match, I think, is going to be a pretty interesting expression of that skill, um, especially as we're I'm learning build orders. At this point, it looked like we were both going for castle first, starting up the house and then going into things. That's what I'm planning on doing. But my opponent goes straight up for this almost this proxy here. Yeah, it's not much of a proxy because it's in his base, but he goes for two wolf dens right away, right after building his house. And as you can see here, I am not ready for this at all. I have not. The only defense I have going on for myself is this house, and that house isn't very defensive, I don't think. But as we can see, my opponent is definitely not going for a very economical opening. It's going very much for this proxy, get a lot of wolves, go for some early aggression, which is good for him. Good for him. That's it's going to be really strong. I'm sure that if I would have sent a worker out to scout, I would have been able to see this. I think that's actually something I should work on personally own in my own matches, especially when I decide to go castle first. I should probably send a worker out to scout. All right, so let's see what my opponent does here. Yeah. Typically, with this castle first, I like to get a watchtower so that I can protect myself from any early aggression. But this is extremely early. It's not even 3 minutes when my tower is supposed to be ready and up, and he's already got wolves in my base here. So as you can see, his early build is starting to really benefit him. He's already got a worker kill. Let's see how many workers we have. So now he's a worker up for me. And he's killed another worker. And he's killed another worker. So now I'm stuck on 10 workers, while my opponent is savagely wrecking my bases. At this point, I'm already at a loss because he's got a fully saturated mining base, and I have to with my mining base I have to defend at home. It really stinks. But while this is all going on, I'm trying my best to get these towers up, make it impossible for his wolves to be a threat to my workers, and that's my main priority at this point, to just deal with this threat. And he's constantly producing wolves. He's got enough money soon here to get his second castle up, and that's good for him. It's good for him that he's getting his castles up and ready. Or good for him that he's getting all this worker damage on me. When this is done, said and done, let's see how many workers he's able to kill here. I think he was about able to kill, I think, 6 workers, which is a pretty healthy amount. But as you can see, throughout that entire harassment, I was able to keep producing workers, and now I'm only 4 behind. Still a lot, but I have 2 bases. He's only got 1, and he's just started to build his first base. So when we go for early aggression like this, especially when we make it to the 4 or 5 minute mark, usually whoever went for the economical opening is better at that point. So he definitely was trying to win early, win within like the first 5 minutes, I'd say. But because he wasn't able to do that, now I can produce more workers than he can. I should be transferring, I think. And when I'm able to have more resources, I'll be able to produce a larger army. I'll basically be able to do more on the map. And especially with, now that I know he's going beast, I should be able to produce soldiers and really produce a comp that will really hamper what he's going for in beast. So specifically soldiers at this point. It takes a while to get snakes, but he does have snake tech going on right now, and now he is building snakes. So I know at this point, soldiers should be fine. And I send the soldier out to scout, see how many bases he's been able to go for. But that quickly gets killed off, and that's important because beast play is more maneuverable. They have more say over the map within the first couple minutes of the game. As you can see, my opponent's going for some more harass. I should probably have some units checking this out. I do have a house that's kind of showing me vision, but I wanted to highlight this while my opponent is going for this harassment. This knight in between these castles is really powerful because it stops like 10 of these units from doing anything, remotely good. This is a different kind of strategy when this happens, where I'm putting buildings up to kind of reduce the surface area that the wolves will be able to have against my workers. So as you can see right now, there's probably 2, 3, 4 wolves. Now there's more wolves that are attacking my workers because they really got into this area. But having the wolves be here instead of fighting out in the open really reduces his efficiency. My watchtower is able to fire at him, and then my soldiers are able to get the most efficient trades, having to fight one wolf instead of many wolves. And so my opponent, he decides at this point, all right, I'm stuck on 2 bases, it seems. He's going to go ahead and macro up and get another base going. But if you can look at the unit tab, we're pretty closely even on workers. In terms of income, my opponent actually makes less than I do. I wonder why that is. Oh, he's making less because he's transferring workers. That's why. But my opponent definitely, in total, has had the ability to mine more than I have, about 300, 400 resources more than I've been able to. At this point, I'm thinking, all right, what's the best strategy to go for if I'm on 2 bases and I'm producing out of 3 structures? I should probably go for some tech. And the tech that I decide to go for is dropships. And I like dropships because if I'm stuck on 2 bases and if I have to play defensively, I can use one dropship to be aggressive, to have some counterplay on the map. And while this is all going on, I've brought my soldiers out to try and protect this castle that I'm trying to build. I know that if I'm going to be stuck on 2 bases, I'm probably going to lose this game because the beast player has access to the whole map. I have to be able to do something, and so I cancel this base so that my opponent doesn't somehow kill that, and I have to start macroing or microing this attack, moving my units back to the safety of these walls and to this tower where this tower will be able to start attacking things. And so I get to this wall, this tower finally starts attacking, and I just stay here, try and get the most damage out possible. Constantly producing, as you can see. I should be producing more. And then when he retreats, I pretty much go straight back and try and get this castle, which I should be doing. While this is all going on for my opponent, he should definitely have sent out a worker to get another castle, continuously producing more units, like another round of units, another round of wolves would be good here. He's producing more structures, and now he's producing more. It looks like he got supply capped. That's something I know for myself. I need to avoid as well because I'm supply capped at 50 supply right now. And so So this kind of back and forth keeps going on. I know my units are going to be stronger, and right now at this point I should be organizing a drop in one of his bases here. It's either that or no. Okay, so what I do is I go for a scout. Okay, I'm more curious to see how many bases my opponent is on. I'm thinking he's on like 6 bases, so that's why I'm desperately trying to get this third base up and running. And I finally do, so thank goodness. This is a good fight for me, especially having him in this choke. I bring out some workers to transfer them. I think I use them to fight in this engagement really soon here. But when you just have snakes into soldiers and archers, snakes are really, what is the word? Squishy? Yeah, I think squishy is the right word. They've only got 80 health. They do a lot of damage. They do a lot of damage, but they're not as strong as say soldiers. 250 health, archers with twice the health as snakes. So here what I did is I basically ran my airship through my opponent's, I don't know, play area, I guess you could say, and really just wanted to see how many bases he was on. If we look at my vision, I'm kind of, intrigued to see that he hasn't taken this base in the top, on the left side of the map, and now I can see maybe he has this base. I should check that out. Maybe he's taken some of these closer bases or something. Something to this effect, basically. I really wish I would have loaded this airship with some units, because that would have been good to have harassment. I go for this move out where I move my army a little bit closer to go for his army, but I decide to not take up a straight up fight. I think at this point I feel like I would lose a fight against this many units, and I was able to occupy those units with my airship. So what I decide to do is I decide to kind of go around his army to move against this base that presumably he has taken, and then just move into his main base if he hasn't taken that. And I don't know how my opponent gets the sense to move his army on the left side as well, but you saw there for a second that was going to be a pretty interesting fight. Oh, this is something I should have seen as well. I'll get better at this kind of stuff. But my opponent is definitely going for castles. He's got his upgrades up, and I'm going for basically a raid of his base. I want to make sure he doesn't have any mining going on, and that I can, try and get to the same amount of mining bases as he has right now, which is why I focused down this castle so hard. In retrospect, what I could have done is I could have moved my soldiers here, and then put my archers in the middle of attacking the castle, as well as defending against this army, and that probably would have been a better trade overall. As you can see now, my opponent is sending dragons against me. We're finishing this fight over here. I'm getting this worker ready to build another castle. My opponent is sending back his workers to continue mining. But there's no base here anymore, so it's a little bit awkward, this long distance mining. And I'm finally able to repel his dragons with my 2 archers and a priest who died, sadly, because of that fight. But I hope this happened. Oh yes, I did go for mages. What I know to be true is that mage drops with so airship and mages together can do a lot of damage to a worker line, and that's basically the strategy I was going for at this point. I was about to build a castle here with this worker, but I didn't want the dragons to see what I was doing, so I canceled that. I didn't want them to see. And so now I'm kind of stuck again. Instead of being stuck on 2 bases, I'm stuck on 3 bases, and I'm trying desperately to get a third. So I think this is when I send this worker out right here to go and build a fourth base, and I'm so desperate to get this fourth base that I send my entire army out to make sure that that's something that's going to be possible. And I get a fireball, but I was curious with what's going on there. And this might be our final engagement actually, because I'm desperately trying to fight his army off so I can go for this base here. And when he's got so many dragons, so many units, compared to only a couple of my units that I'm able to produce out of these structures here, it's pretty rough, and I have to retreat back to my base in order to have at least a good engagement. But as you can see here, I'm thoroughly being outmatched to my units, to my opponent's units, as well as his production now. I send out some archers to try and harass his workers. I finally start building this fourth base, but at this point it's pretty much too late. And I'm wondering what I could have done to do a little bit better at this game. I actually think, personally, there's a bit of a tic-tac-toe element to this game, and I'll talk about more of that in detail right after I say GG here really soon, because I should be done with this game. I've obviously lost. I should have. There we go. I GG out now. And so, seeing the results of my opponent going for Beast, him doing his really early aggression with his wolves, just how this game played out, where he really stopped me from being able to go for this third base, and then again with this fourth base. I think this could have been avoided. This whole situation could have been avoided if I would have sent one of these workers out at the beginning of the game to see when he built these two dens at 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I think what I could have done there, I don't know the math exactly, but I think there was enough time, if I would have sent this worker out and scouted, to decide to, instead of go for castle first, to go for the barrack first, and then either go for a soldier right away or a raider, and really stopped his aggression. And then at that point, we would have been playing a standard game of Rax versus Beast. I would have been able to produce a little bit more at the beginning and really established a good defensive army, and then gone into more economical choices. It's interesting with these builds, because the two builds I'm most familiar with right now is standard, where you have your castle, you build a house, and then you build a barracks. At 3 minutes, you should have two raiders on your opponent's side of the map, scouting and harassing. And for my opponent, what he did is at 2 minutes and 30 seconds before that timing I said earlier, he had one wolf harassing me, which is before this tower, the tower that was right here, goes up at 3 minutes. And so I thought that was pretty interesting. It's probably something I'll have to add to my game. If I play a standard build, I think standard is safe, and so I probably won't scout with a standard build. But going castle first, I think, requires me to send a worker out just to be safe, see what my opponent is up to, if he's going for any cheese, just going for any proxies like he did. But overall, good game to my opponent. I like the choice of going for these dragons later on. That really added a lot more versatility to his army, stopped me from going for a fourth base, and overall, I think my opponent played really nicely. He got his 6 bases. I think he could have played a little bit more greedy and gotten 2 more bases up and running, I think. But overall, really good game. All right, guys, thank you for watching. If you enjoy my content, I make videos every single day, so there's plenty of me to go around. Go ahead and leave a like and subscribe. That really helps me out, especially as we're trying to grow this channel and grow the Little War Game community. All right, guys. Bye-bye.